Good afternoon, everyone. A warm welcome to all respected dignitaries, faculty members, participants, colleagues, and my dear students. The Department of Legal Science is extremely pleased and delighted to organize the Department of Legal Science is extremely pleased and delighted to organize the national seminar on contemporary issues and challenges in environmental legislation in current decades, 2020 to 29. At the moment, the most pressing issues India and the rest of the world is facing are those relating to environmental conservation, preservation, and improvement. India has made significant strides in enacting environmental laws to preserve its natural resources and promote sustainable development. The country's legal framework includes key legislation such as the Environmental Protection Act, Wildlife Protection Act, Forest Conservation Act, which aim to control pollution, conserve biodiversity, and protect forests. These laws have provided a foundation for environmental governance and have been instrumental in addressing various environmental issues. However, challenges persist. Rapid industrialization, urbanization, and population growth continue to exert pressure on India's ecosystem. The objectives behind the national seminar is to introduce and discuss the environmental issues that the present time is facing and discuss the root causes of the problems and their solutions. Now, I would like to welcome Professor Dr. Rina Baladi Ma'am, Director of Academics at Noida University, to come and sit in the dais. Please put a huge round of applause for her. I welcome Dr. Devushi Chakraborty, Head of the Department of Legal Science, to the dais. I will request Dr. Rina Baladi Ma'am to felicitate Dr. Mohit Rai. So please. I will request Dr. Devushi Chakraborty Ma'am to felicitate Mr. Dipon Kumar Sharkar. I request Dr. Devushi Chakraborty Ma'am to felicitate Dr. Pratyusha Das, our guest of honor. I request Dr. Devushi Chakraborty Ma'am to felicitate Dr. Shorovi Vardhan, our guest of honor and jury panel Now I request everyone to join the lamp lighting ceremony.
No, Bobby, pasa.
Request Professor Dr. Rina Palagi Ma'am, Director of Academics, Technoid University for the inauguration speech. Professor Dr. Rina Palagi is the Director of Academics at Techno India University, West Bengal. She had been associated with Techno India Group since its inception in the year 2001. She graduated from Calcutta University and did her master's from IIT Kharagpur. She was awarded PhD degree in 1991 from IIT Kharagpur and was also awarded with CSIR postdoctoral fellowship in 1996 to carry out her postdoctoral research at IIT Kharagpur. She had worked as R&D scientist in Rain Stalgros Limited and as project associate at IIT Delhi. She has presented several papers in conferences and wrote articles for national and international journals. She authored a book on engineering chemistry published by Tata MC Grow Hill Education. Ma'am, please.
So thank you, first of all. But I think better I go as the RP manager. Okay, rather than so much. So good afternoon, respected Dr. Mohit Roy, environment engineers and activists, Mr. Enviornmental Shankar, Advocate High Court, Dr. Pratyusha Das, Dean Xavier School of Law, Dr. Shoromi Bhaskar, Faculty of Environmental Science, Dr. Devasthi Chakraborty, HOD, Department of Legal Science, and my dear colleagues from Department of Legal Science, my beloved students and participants. It is my honor to be a part of National Seminar on Contemporary Issues and Challenges in Environmental Legislation in Current Decade, organized by the Department of Legal Science, Techno India University, West Bengal. Techno India University, West Bengal is the first private university as one of the renowned universities in the state of West Bengal, which is committed for generating, disseminating, and preserving knowledge. This university is extremely honored to host this national seminar on an emerging topic, issues and challenges in environmental legislation. As we all know, that the environment we live in are getting deteriorated day by day due to some anthropogenic activities. So it is our responsibility to keep our environment healthy for survival of all living organisms in this planet. As a sensible person, we must understand the consequences of environmental pollution. Nobody in this planet will be able to survive in this polluted atmosphere. So everything, air, water, land, everybody, we must try to keep it for the survival, to be clean for the survival of each and every individual on this planet. So it is our social responsibility to create awareness, to sensitize people, and also to take steps for strict implementation of environmental laws. I hope this seminar will provide a platform for mutual discussion, collaboration on various environmental issues that present time is facing, and to know the root cause of those issues and to find out the solution to combat them, and to discuss on various laws and regulations and to educate the people on those laws to maintain a healthy, sustainable environment. We express our heartfelt gratitude to all the speakers and the panelists for accepting our invitation and to deliver the valuable talk to sensitize our young students and participants. So look forward to having a long and fruitful association with you all in future to save our environment. So on this occasion, I welcome you all at this seminar, and I officially say that this seminar is open for the day. And it is obviously this is for today, it is offline, but tomorrow again it is on online mode. So I congratulate and appreciate the initiative taken by the Department of Legal Science. My heartfelt thanks to each and everyone behind the realization of this seminar on this emerging topic, and hope the seminar will be benefited for each one of us, and we can go a step forward to protect our environment. So please give your best to make the seminar successful and fruitful. The best wishes for the grand success of this seminar. All the best. May God bless you all. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for your motivating words. Now I would like to welcome Dr. Debussy Chakraborty, Head of the Department of Legal Science, for addressing the gathering. She is an accomplished academician and legal scholar known for her expertise in the intersection of cyber criminology and general laws. She completed her graduation from Assam University, followed by LLM from Hidayatullah University, Raipur. Her scholarly journey culminated with the prestigious PhD degree awarded by the NUJS Kolkata. Her work spans across newspapers, national and international journals, listed in the UGC care list, reflecting the depth and breadth of her academic contributions. Additionally, she has actively participated in various national and international conferences and seminars. Her pursuit of knowledge and passion for education continue to inspire both colleagues and students alike. Ma'am, please.
you all in the innovation program of national seminar on contemporary issues and challenges in environmental legislations in the current decade. This gathering marks a significant milestone as we come together to delve into critical subjects that impact our environment, society, future generations. Our world is in a critical situation, facing unpredictable challenges that require urgent attention and collective action. The theme of this seminar, contemporary issues and challenges in environmental legislation, reflects the complexity interplay between the legal framework and the passive environmental concern of our time. One of the focus points of this seminar is the interrelation between the environmental issues and feminism. Environment and gender justice are interrelated with each other, and we must recognize the disappropriate impact of environmental degradation on women. By exploring this intersection, we aim to foster a deeper understanding of how environmental policies can be more inclusive and equitable. New dimension in environmental law is another aspect we are set to explore. In an era where technological advancement and globalization are transforming our world, our legal framework must evolve to address emerging challenges. This seminar provides a platform to discuss innovative approaches to the environmental law that can be adapted to a dynamic needs of our changing planet. Biodiversity, wildlife, and natural resources are invaluable treasures that demand our protection. As we witness the alarming rates of species extinction and climatic change are global threat that requires immediate and concerned action. The impact of pollution and climatic changes are felt across borders, affecting communities, ecosystem, and economy. Through this seminar, we are aimed to foster a dialogue on the effective legislative measures to mitigate the challenges and build an insight and sustainable future. As we embark on the intellectual journey, I encourage each and one participant to actively engage in discussion, share insight, and collaborate on potential solutions. The diversity of perspective present here is our strength, and together we can continue to shape effective and comprehensive environmental legislation for current decade and beyond. I extend my heartfelt gratitude to the coordinators of the event and the participants for their dedication to this cause. Let us use this seminar as a crystal for positive change, fostering a commitment to environment administration and create for a more sustainable and just world. Thank you, and may our deliberation to both enlightening and impactful. Thank you, and have a nice day.
Thank you, ma'am, for your encouraging words. Now I would like to welcome Dr. Mohit Rai, our guest of honor, for the speech. He is an Indian environmental and human rights activist based in Kolkata. He has campaigned for saving the Adi Ganga, Vikramgarh Jheel, and other water bodies of Kolkata. His seminal work in this field is the extensive research on the water bodies and heritage ponds of Kolkata. His work has been published by the Kolkata Municipal Corporation and Ananda Publishers. He has also published a number of papers in technical journals. He writes regularly on environmental issues in different journals, including The Statesman, Ananda Bajar Patrika, A. Shomoy, and Bortoman. He has also campaigned for a long time against the persecution of minorities in Bangladesh and the citizenship rights of the Bengali Hindi refugees. Sir, please.
Good afternoon, everybody, and the dais, respected Professor Reena Palamli, then Devasri Chakraborty, Health Department, Mr. Deepak Sarkar, and Dr. Pratyusha Das. My regards to all of you. a little more so that I can communicate with you, more freely. I am basically a hardcore engineer, environmental engineer. And when some new pollution comes, I am happy. That is something new is happening. You see, there is a ozone layer disturbance. You know about it. That now it is no more used. The freon 12, one of the chemicals, which go to the ozone layer, and that destroys it. So we have some bad radiation. But you see, that freon 12, that chemical, is one of the most safest chemicals. Because when you go out of your house, you think of your LPG cylinder, that whether it will come out, you have to do something. When you go for say 1 month, you had in the refrigerator some still that kind of compressed gas. You never thought of it that will cause any problem. It was such a safe gas. It doesn't ignite. And I like it most for a different purpose because we have number of topics today that global climate change, then sustainability, then also feminism. That chemical saved my mother's life because when the first refrigerator came to my house, she had first enough time to us. Otherwise, from the morning, she had to think what my father would take bean from the market, and then how to cook it, and then whether what has been cooked, whether it will last up to evening or not, whether saving. And she didn't have much time. When the refrigerator comes, she had the time to read newspapers and others. So, women's liberation came into my house through that chemical. But nobody knew that after 3 decades, somebody would find out that it is causing something problem. And we have solved it. So I think that human generation with its development will bring out new environmental problems. And science and technology will try to solve it. So I don't see environmental issues very negatively. Also, related with, you will be all lawyer of different types of law. Environment is another issue. And so environmental issues will also pose some legal problems. So you have to have an overall idea of environment. Then in specific cases, you have to deal differently. So I will basically today won't go in many details of any environmental cases that you have done a lot of here, which will be delivered in 2 days. I'll tell what I think of environment in the way you should also think. As I said, my basic discipline was chemical engineering. I did it from Jalupur, then I did my master's from Manchester, then did some and later PhD. But when I came to practice environmental engineering for beginning of my career, there was nothing. Environment was not a known subject. Even I didn't know much. And as a legal profession, you have to know that first environmental law, direct environmental law came in 1974, Water Pollution Act. Through that act, first all these central pollution boards, state pollution boards were created, and one of our eminent engineers, Professor Niloy Chaudhary, was motivation force behind all these things. But beyond that, there is another thing that in 1972, first international United Nations conference on environment was held in Stockholm. Only 3 head of the state went here. One was of course Sweden's, other I forgot. Third one, very interestingly, and I still don't know why she was there, Mrs. Indira. But one thing was that Mrs. Indira Gandhi's speech is still discussed today. One of our major issue of that speech was that one of the major environmental pollutant is poverty. It is still discussed today. And even in 1972, after the international conference, it did not take up much interest worldwide. Next international conference was held in 1992, after 20 years. And in 1992, there are 147 head of the states. You can understand from 72 to 92, the things have changed much. But our law, first law, and this is thanks to Gandhi, 1974 law came. But law comes, its implementation is more important. Now, in years maybe here and there, Mr. Mehta, he filed a case in Supreme Court about the Ganga pollution. I think somewhere in mid 1980s. So, as you know, don't mind the lawyer now in Indian case, it goes on and on. Anyway, after 10 years, the state government got the notice that the industries along the Ganga basin, what is the status of the industries with their effluent control. In 1995, West Bengal, which we consider as an intellectual state, they informed the Supreme Court that 70% of the industries don't have any water pollution treatment system. 20 years after the passing of the Act. So, there has to be too much time to have the consciousness of treatment, and the standards started to come. So we are on a process so that our environment is safe. But again I say, we started, I don't feel that our environment is going to be so bad, because if you consider the overall human well-being, you'll find that last 20 years, 25 years, our average life expectancy has gone up. If you see industrial revolution in England and Great Britain, from 1870 to 1970, it was most polluting time in the history of Europe. But in parallel, you will find that in those 100 years, their life expectancy has gone from 40 years to 70 years. So, what I want to say that when we see the environmental issues, environmental pollution, you have to balance it with other aspects of life. And there, as I said, I earn my bread and butter from doing environmental services, the different industries. What I do basically is what you call environmental impact assessment service. So it gives me an opportunity not only to be inside the factory, I have to go outside the factory in its impact zone, measure air quality, water quality, soil stability, then also social things. So I have the advantage of mixing not only with the chemicals but also with human beings. There first, I could understand that there are two worlds of environment. So as a lawyer, when you face these issues, technicalities are different. What is the permissible level, or whether this industry has maintained their commitment. Besides that, we have to understand there are two worlds of environment. We did a study on the school level students, what they think of environmental pollution. So we took up some students from lower income group people and some schools from upper income group people. Say, idea of environmental pollution is totally different in two cases. In the low income group students, when I say what is your sound pollution problem, they say there is huge quarrel in our area. In the morning there is people collect water. They start to quarrel from the morning. So there are so shoutings, and my next door neighbor, they have quarrels every day. I can read. That is the concept of sound pollution from lower income. From the higher income group students, it's just like that. There is a horn on the street, then there is microphone blurring, and all these things. So there are two environments. Similarly, you have also a section on biodiversity. I went to a school, not me, went to a school just at the border of Odisha and West Bengal. So we are making biodiversity register. That means in your area, what kind of different kind of species, it may be birds or flowers or different kind of plants, all these things we are making in every area. Now this is an area at Western Midnapur where there are elephants coming to the villages and everything. There are small forests around. So we are happily saying, look, you live in an area. You live in an area with so much biodiversity. It is an area full of biodiversity. We are documenting it. You should be proud of your area. Then one student, girl student, please. One girl student stood up, and she can't speak Bengali well. She is basically one of from the tribal groups. So she asked that, do you have this kind of biodiversity in your area? That means in Kolkata. So he said, no. Then she had a look. You don't have so much biodiversity in your area, but you are quite well. You have come with car in my area and giving our school this and that. So why should we have biodiversity? Ask the same question to Europeans. You have finished all your biodiversity, right? You are very welcome. So what I'm saying, I'm not saying destroy the biodiversity. What I'm saying that we have to know that our environmental issues would not be same as in the Western countries. Why I'm saying this, whether it is law or environmental understanding, we still look to the West for our environmental understanding. But you will find that our culture, our tradition has inbuilt environmental understanding within us. Of course, there has been several centuries that we have not studied our traditions. You see, we start that my Sanskrit pronunciation may be very bad, but just bear with me. Apra Deva Prithivi Antariksham Surya Atta Jagatostu Pushta. That means this word Devya Prithivi is full of sun rays, and everything on the earth, whether static or movable, their source of energy is from sun. So this is from regular. So whatever the solar thing, we are coming to the age of solar power. We have in our tradition this solar thing. Even you go to the Manusmriti, there are number of laws to protect environment. One slok is like this, that Vanaspatanam Sarvesham Upobhogo Jatha Jatha Tatha Damaho Karyo Himshayam Iti Dharana. It says, if someone cuts a tree, which part of the tree has cut, because trees different part has different way used, that should be evaluated and compensated by that person. So This is our tradition. If you see, think of, rivers, waters. When we do any puja, we talk of 7 rivers of the whole country. Gange cha Yamune cha Godavari Saraswati Narmade Sindhu Kaveri Jalesmita Samkiti. So we have within our tradition that touch with the nature, right? So we have to do all our environmental ideas, environmental laws, which goes on with our specific situation, not just trying to achieve some external standards, some everything. Why I am saying this thing? Because a lot of our today's understanding and their responsibilities are coming from some kind of campaign, worldwide campaign. As I said that 1992 there was a big conference, and you will be coming to these issues. You will be coming to these issues in your today's deliberation. That sustainability, climate change. Before I go into that, then I will just tell me my part of the legal thing. I went to court, Kolkata High Court. You have seen this Science City. Now this Science City location is in fact is a waste town, right? Because this bypass has been created much later. This both sides was part of Kama. Now in a waste town, you cannot do this kind of structure very quickly. There are some norms and other things from civil engineering and environmental point of view. These waste, they produce methane. And methane is a natural gas, which is this CNG, what you call it. Right? Now, methane gas, if it gets fired somewhere, it causes a huge thing. It is a very flammable, much more than this fuel LPG. Now, we went to court for 2 aspects. At Calcutta, CMD, Calcutta Metropolitan Development, they have a planning for Kolkata. Their document was there. They showed all these areas as areas not to be built. But Science City was started. So we went to High Court. Personally, I argued in the court, and that gave me a very good lesson, because I told the justice that yes, sir, and someone said, no, you say you have my lord. Okay. So then they say you should submit these documents next day. So I submitted some Xerox copies. They said, no, you have to do all these green papers, all these things. But why I am arguing this thing that I found that legal profession has to move with the environmental issues with some background of that subject. You know this is Calcutta wetland. We are very happy with it, but that judgment in Indian case, history case, that was given only 9 months. Never it happens. And there you can, I don't know whether you get that book because it is unofficially banned. One German scholar came, he was doing his PhD, Hans Dembowski. So he went through these issues, went to the court, and then he wrote a book that I'm just forgetting the name. East Calcutta wetland, something like that. So he had some criticism of this our legal work. Now then, one of the top lawyer of Calcutta High Court, I'm not naming him, he is no more. So he got a case against him, and that guy never came back to India. That if he comes back, if he is arrested. So what I'm saying that legal issues are getting all these things. So they have to be also know overall idea of how law is being done. So I will now take up 2 other issues which will be also discussing next 2 days, and let's say sustainability and climate change. Because I don't like the idea of sustainability. Sustainability was, the issue first was uttered by Swedish Prime Minister around 1992. I'm forgetting her name. Now Sweden is a rich country. I used to say if God has to show how a heaven will be, I don't know whether God, he or she will take it to Sweden, right? Social security, everything good. Right now it's a little bit difficult, but that's a different thing. Now, typically just to sustainable. Now, there is a lady beggar in my area. I find she is sustainable. Last 30 years she is alive, right? Every day collecting something and there. So sustainability is not a good idea for a poor person. That means you are telling a poor person, remain. Our civilization, say, did you have, short of stones that we came out of Stone Age, there is not much stone, we have to go to place. So I think, when we take these words, use these words, and as a professional report writer, I have to put this kind of sustainability in my report here. Otherwise, it will be acceptable. But as you are entering into the idea of the environment from a fresh outlook, take these new words, ideas with your own understanding for our country. And similarly with the climate change, it was past the global warming, the term global warming and the climate change. We will think that our development, our work, everything has to go on. Also, we protect the environment, and that will also give me some answer money. Anyway, thank you for inviting me. So I think you should be aware to the new age of environment. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for your informative words. Now I would like to welcome Mr. Dipon Kumar Sharkar, a guest speaker for some speech. He is an advocate of Calcutta High Court. He has been a co-author of Indian Constitution, Origins and Evolution of 10 volumes, Lexis Nexis 2014 to 19, and Law of Contempt, 6th edition 2021, Lexis Nexis. He has been an independent editor in Judicial Control of Administrative Action, Justice B.P. Banerjee, 3rd edition 2016, Lexis Nexis, and retainer with the Commonwealth Human Rights Initiative since 2013. Sir, please.
Very good afternoon, everyone. First of all, I should apologize for this seminar being held up because I was late. I think you can now realize why justice is often held up. It is because of lawyers. The other thing is I don't have a prepared speech. I'm pretty unprepared. That's also one vice which lawyers have. They are mostly unprepared before the courts when they go to argue matters. Which is why the state of the law is what it is now. I'm very humbled to have been invited to come here and speak on environment. I'm not sure whether I'm the right person because I should start with one, not only is it a disclaimer, but also a confession. I do appear regularly before the National Green Tribunal, but yes, I do appear for victims or activists who claim that there's been a damage to the environment or the environment, the right to environment has been infringed. But more often than not, I appear for the alleged polluters. So I'm not sure if I'm the right person to be addressing a conference or a seminar of this nature. But I do think where it becomes relevant is you must look at an issue from all perspectives in order to gain an understanding of the subject. And that is most true for a subject like environment. You see, one thing which we don't realize being practicing lawyers, where we are so deeply involved in praying to God every day, "O Lord, give us this daily bread," that we often forget the larger picture. The larger picture is that of environment. We must keep in mind that we exist, we work, we have a nation, we can move around, we can earn a daily living, we can enjoy ourselves only as long as environmental conditions permit us to. And I realized this the most during COVID, especially when stepping out simply into open air would require to wear a mask. It was almost dystopian. And sometimes I also feel modern civilization is somewhat like a dystopia as well in terms of pollution. Especially now that you have a movement all across the world where climate change or environmental pollution is being denied altogether, at least its consequences on society. But we are realizing day in and day out the health problems, the various other problems which arise in society. Because we are all lawyers here, I suppose, at least if not lawyers, tomorrow you all will be lawyers. And you will then have to make a choice. You will, while going to court, encounter pollution, and you will think that no, this is such an important subject, we must be aware of air, water, the Air Act, the Water Act, the various legislations which are there for the protection of the environment, the various checks and balances. But at the same time, you will arrive in court and you will be handed up a brief to appear for an industry who has polluted the environment mercilessly, and you will be asked, go, now defend me in court. You will have to make a choice. And often you will see that there is, I think Dr. Ray touched upon this topic rather succinctly. And that is, for civilization to grow, there must be some sacrifices on the part of the environment. Because if you really have to protect the environment in exactly the state in which it is meant to be, there can never be any material progress, or even in human progress for that matter. The very fact of increase in pollution in population causes increase in pollution, causes degradation to environment. The very fact that the increase in population demands more cities to be built, more infrastructure to be built, causes degradation to the environment. So where do we draw a line? When we talk about protection of the environment, what do we mean? We mean, and this is my personal understanding, where there will be human growth, where human civilization can develop while causing the minimum possible damage to the environment. And for that, whatever steps are required to be taken, that is to be taken through legislation and our own understanding and awareness of such legislations. I'll give an example. In case of sound pollution, for instance, you will find nowadays, in fact, I found recently in a building around this area only, that there is a very high-end cafe. And there was a building beside it, and they've put a huge poster. There have been loud parties here, please don't make noise. Now, that is also within the ambit of environment. That is also within the ambit of environmental pollution. Now, how do you address it? For any society to thrive, you must have a rule of law. Rule of law guarantees that we have a nation, a society with rules which everyone will abide by. But having that legislation is not enough. You must have means, you must have ways to implement it. And that implementation cannot ever be done only through a court of law, as most people tend to think. The ideal way is by instilling awareness about these issues inside each and every citizen as to what his limits are. To be an environmentally conscious person and a citizen, what are the responsibilities you must discharge? Once you have that, you won't require approaching the courts with a drop of a hat, which should always be the last resort, according to me. You must also be aware of when do you draw a line as to pollution, etc., and everything else in society. I think environment as a whole is connected with human human society at large, and I think it is through seminars like these that awareness is to be created, so that you as lawyers with a conscience go out there, defend the environment, but when you are required to defend the other side, you also take a balanced approach, and you don't turn into, a fanatic where you want to stop everything, but you want to enable and facilitate growth, causing minimum damage to the environment. This is the only thing that I can think of saying here, because again, as I said, I'm thoroughly unprepared, as I always am in matters. So all the best to all the participants. I hope that this seminar will contribute to creating what my late senior, Mr. Shamraditya Pal, used to say, that all lawyers must have a reservoir of knowledge, which you must draw from while conducting your cases on a daily basis without any focused law. So I hope that this contributes to creation of that, or filling up of that reservoir of knowledge, which you will then draw from to be an environmentally conscious citizen and then an environmentally conscious lawyer. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for your encouraging words. Now I would like to welcome Dr. Pratyusha Das, jury panel member of the seminar. Ma'am is presently the Dean of Xavier Law School, St. Xavier's University. She has worked as an assistant professor in various universities of repute, namely KIIT School of Law, KIIT University, Bhubaneswar, Orissa, and Amity Law School, Amity University, Kolkata. She authored a book titled Forensic Evidence, Admissibility in Criminal Justice System. She possesses teaching experience in various subjects to undergraduate and postgraduate students, and her other areas of interest include criminal law, forensic evidence, and law of evidence. Ma'am has participated in various national and international conferences and possesses national and international publications. Before joining academics, she was a UGC Research Fellow in Criminal Forensics. She holds keen interest in interdisciplinary research. She has been a resource person in a capacity building program and management development program. Ma'am has delivered lectures to faculty development program, to professionals and government servants. She has graced the Constitution workshop as a member in the Law Review and on marriage and divorce laws across communities in India, organized by WVNUJS in collaboration with National Commission for Women. Ma'am has previously been part of the discussion on criminal law amendment at WVNUJS. Ma'am has been advisory board member of international conferences as well. Ma'am has also chaired and co-chaired conferences. Please welcome.
So, good afternoon to all the dignitaries present here and my dear students. This is an honor to me that I have been asked to speak and to address the audience, and I'm really thankful and honored to have this opportunity. Especially I'm thankful to Dr. Devashree for allowing me to participate and come in this wonderful conference. I'm actually, something a novice person in environment, but what I can speak, I can take the words of Mr. Sarkar and start that defense is one of the most important part which we being the fraternity or we in the legal fraternity can do, because defense is always good and we need to defend people. But at the same time, when somebody is flouting the laws or doing something against the nature, we always have a right also to let them know what they should do, and we can admonish them. That we can always do, and let them learn a lesson that fine, I'm defending you now, but I hope in future we would not face this and we would get something different from you. And environment, actually the understanding is an awareness basically, and it starts from our home. So if we can start the matter from our home and carry it on at every place we are in, I think it would be a better world. And this is all that I can tell you for you, and I wish you all the success and all the best for the program. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Now I would like to welcome Dr. Shonuki Vardhan and Judy panel of the seminar. Ma'am is a faculty in the Department of Environmental Science in Netaji Nagar College for Women, Federal University. She has pursued doctoral degree in science from Department of Physics, Jadavpur University. She has graduated and postgraduate from Federal University, and she is also UGC NET and SET qualified. Her research interest involves enhancement of optical, electrical, and biological properties of natural minerals in their nano regime in order to design natural multifunctional sensors, wastewater treatment, and energy harvesting devices. Please welcome, ma'am.
Hello everyone over here. And I just want to say that I am not much prepared for this speech today, and secondly, I am not very good in law and legislation part. But what I can say today is share something regarding the environment. First of all, we all are aware of the problems occurring here. But how much do we do ourselves for that? We know global warming is happening. We are aware about the climate change, the ozone layer depletion, as Sarah has already shared that with us. We already know that there are various laws like the Water Pollution and Control Law, or the Act. Then there is the Umbrella Act of Environmental Protection. There are so many laws, but still, why there is pollution ongoing in India? Our neighboring country, China, is way forward than us in various sectors. Still, where are they lagging behind? That this is the first thing that we should know before doing anything or telling anything that this is not done, this is to be done. We can say many things like we can do this, we can do that, and unless and until we go to the field. That is the main thing. While doing an awareness campaign, I just want to share one of my experience with us. While doing an awareness campaign on population in Sundarban areas, while I was talking about the different ways we can do for population control, the one thing they only told us that, Didi, joto chele toto hath. আমরা এগুলো ভাবতে পারি কিন্তু আমরা করতে পারবো না. That is some local rural person just directly told that to me. And this is the fact. Even during my PhD time, while collecting data from the Bantala area, the East Calcutta wetland, there is a leather complex over there. And while collecting sample from the leather complex area, canal, the outlet of the canal is directly connecting to the waterway that is meeting the famous Nidahari river of Sundarban. And there is a huge population residing over there, just in the adjoining area. And people are depending on that water, which is heavily laden with hexavalent chromium. People are consuming that water. Even when they got tea stalls, they are taking that water from that area only and serving us. I know what that tea contains, but many people over there don't know. There is standard set by WHO and CPCB that hexavalent chromium in water should not be more than 0.1 ppm. But what I found was an alarming rate of 21 ppm in that water only. And these are potent carcinogen that they are consuming regularly. And I guess you all know what will be the result of consumption of such heavy metal. So these are something that are happening. So isn't there anything that we can do? The population, the poverty, the pollution, will they engross us? There are many pilot projects happening now. We have energy target 2020. Till 2022, we were given energy targets of renewable resource, dependence on renewable resource of around 175 gigawatt, among which 100 gigawatt will be from solar energy. But still we didn't achieve it successfully. Now the government has been given the target of 500 gigawatt from renewable resources till 2030. But in the last worldwide conference held in November 2023, it was found out that the rate at which we are transitioning from fossil fuels to renewables is very slow and it is very hard to achieve the target. Another target of the decade is the sustainable development to 2030. See, these all are designed by the Scandinavian or the Swedish or such countries, mostly from US and European countries. But staying in a developing country like India, as Sir has already told, it is easy to say about sustainability. But once we are on the field, it is very difficult to achieve. Then what can we do? There are various pilot projects ongoing. 3 years back, our PM Modi has told from Red Fort that the future of the energy will be hydrogen because we are targeting zero carbon emission. I guess many people out there have heard of the carbon market and carbon emission factors. So, hydrogen, there are many industries like the Tata, the Adani, they are targeting pilot projects to build hydrogen fields, hydrogen energy. And just like now there are petroleum pumps, in future there will be various hydrogen dispenser pumps. But they are still targets, they are still under plans. We don't know we will achieve it in this decade or not. Then secondly, there is something that is also right now under pilot in Dhapa, in many places, that is the bio-CNG or biogas production. Many of us, I guess over here, love to eat Lay's chips. The Lay's, one of the main problems we are facing the Lay's company is to handle with the enormous amount of potato peels produced there. So they are coming up with a plan to install an anaerobic digester over there so that they don't have to think about the transportation of so much and storage of so much amount of potato peels. They will make compost from that potato peels to get biomethane. Along with that, they will get fertilizer which they can sell and earn revenue. So this is, what can I say, a profit, and this concept is this is a very new topic that is coming now, that is waste to wealth, and most companies are right now targeting towards this thing, that zero waste discharge, zero liquid waste discharge, then waste to wealth technologies. So these things will be possible, and pilot studies are ongoing. But I guess the legislation, the law, if it is more stronger, like the neighboring countries like China, Japan and other countries, and if the consciousness comes in everyone's mind, then it is possible within this decade only. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am, for your informative words. We are extremely pleased and grateful to have with us the guests, chief guests, and the panel members who have taken out their time from their busy schedule for attending the seminar. Now we will move forward to the next part of the seminar, that is the presentation part. Before starting the presentation, I would like to call Shreya ma'am to discuss the rules of the seminar.
Thank you, Basala. Very good afternoon, everyone. Okay. So, the title of our seminar is Contemporary Issues and Challenges in Environmental Legislation in the Current Decade. It has been segregated into 4 things. Number 1, environmental pollution and climate change. Number 2, biodiversity, wildlife and natural resources. Number 3, new dimensions in environmental law. And number 4, environment and feminism. So, we are very happy and pleased to announce that we have got an overwhelming response and we have received 63 registrations for presentation all over India. Please give us a big round of applause for this. And this seminar is in hybrid mode. There are few presentators who are with us today who will be presenting here. Okay, now coming forward to the rules of the seminar. Since we are segregated into 4 themes, each participant will be given 5 minutes time for presentation and 2 minutes for jury feedback. So total 7 minutes the presentators are getting if they are allowed by the jury panel. The presentator should maintain the originality of the paper. All presentations are to be done by the PowerPoint presentations. The topic of the presentator should be based. We have already discussed about the themes. Then for the online participants, audio and video will be turned on throughout the session and shall remain the same. Time will be the same for all. For evaluation, the jury panel evaluation will be based on the content, delivery, visuals, question answers and overall impressions. Certificates will be awarded to all the participants along with that the best presentator, the best title and best researcher. And the people who are attending, who have come over here to attend the seminar, those who will be attending online, they will also get the certificates of attending. Now, we have a very special announcement. We are very fortunate to collaborate with Next Assistant Media and Publications, and with them we will be publishing an edited book about this conference. We will be choosing 15 best papers from the conference and consultation with the jury panel, and those 15 best papers will be published in the edited book. Okay, though initially we didn't ask for full paper, but after our conference, the feedback of the jury panel, we will be coordinating with the best papers, 15 best papers and presentators, and we will be asking them to present their papers, to give us their papers within a limited time, and it will be published in the edited book. So, this is it. We are towards the end of our inauguration ceremony, and all are requested. We are ending the ceremony over here. The volunteers and participants are requested to get to room number 804 for lunch. Okay? The volunteers and the presentators, and here we end the session. Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, panelists and my colleagues or presentators over here. So, we are starting presentation for team 1. First presentator, Konkona Dash. Please come over here. Presenting by PPT, and we have already discussed the rules and regulations of the program. All the best to all the participants. Let's start.
Good afternoon, ma'am, and good afternoon to all my friends and presenters here. So, my broad theme is environmental pollution and climate change. So, I have chosen plastic as the problematic area. So, when inherently we talk about the plastic, we only talk about the waste component of it, how it is managed or how it is mismanaged. But what I would like to highlight today is how plastic is contributing to this triple planetary crisis. That United Nations recently declared that these 3 are the triple planetary crises that humanity is facing for these decades and coming decades to come. So, how plastic is contributing to this? I have used some data from the UNEP, United Nations Environment Program, that is 19 to 23 million total tons of waste plastic is getting into the aquatic ecosystem. Then the problem of plastic, how burning of plastic is causing atmospheric pollutions of dioxins and furans, which are 2 most persistent organic pollutants harmful for the health. Last, to add to it, the climate change problem. Initially, it was never discussed that plastic connected to the climate change issues. But the data is showing that 4% of the total greenhouse gas emissions is now coming from the manufacturing of the virgin plastic polymers. So how this is the situations where when we inherently talk about the plastic one from the West Bengal Bhopal district, and this is Odisha, Ganjam, Gopalpur district coastal area, how it is being polluted those places. But when we talk about the regulatory framework, policy level challenges, how India is prepared to deal with this triple planetary crisis that plastic may cause. So we do have legislations on the Plastic Waste Management Rule 2016, which is under the Environment Protection Act. That's the parent act which we call for the environment. That's the Environment Protection Act. But this rule, as the name itself suggests, it's morely waste centric, as we always talked about. That it is only talking about how the waste should be managed or dealt with. But it is completely silent on the manufacturing part, the plastic polymers and also the plastic products. It is also silent on how to deal with the burning of plastics, that uncontrolled burning or any industry specific, for example, incineration in the medical waste sector, when incineration of the plastic is also happening, how those things can be burned. Plastic waste management rule does not talk about that part. And if we consider, for the sake of the argument, that waste is being dealt through this rule, there also I would like to highlight two most important design deficiency. So plastic waste rule mainly focused around polluter pays principle. And polluter pays principle, all my lawyer friends must be understanding that polluter pays principle allows polluters to restore the damages caused to the communities and caused to the environment as a whole. But when the EPR, Extended Producer Responsibility, has been established through the Plastic Waste Management Rule, this EPR is having certain problems. It has given PIBO, that is Producer, Importer and Brand Owners, certain year-wise target, that how much they are introducing into the environment, they have to take back to the take-back collection mechanism. But at the same time, they are getting a leverage in the law itself, that if someone is defaulter and not able to make a target achieved, they can purchase certificate from those who are able to overachieve their targets. So the moment we are allowing one to do such kind of scopes, we are actually giving them the license to continue with the pollutions. But the polluter pay principle does not really allow anyone to pollute further. Rather, this is the principle which impose absolute liability on the polluters to restore the damages caused to the community, to the environment. Secondly, I would like to highlight another problem. We recently banned single-use plastics, some of the important single-use plastic, but we still left with some important single-use plastic, that is sachet. So sachet is no more covered under this plastic waste single-use plastic bag. Why I highlight the sachet? This is a figure. In 2018 alone, 855 million sachet has been produced only. Introducing the market, only 10% got collected and recycled. So the result, I did some case study of some FMCGs, top 10, top 5 I have presented here, how they have dealt with the sachet packaging material to take back as part of their extended producer responsibility target. The crux is all 5, none have been talked anything about the plan, program or any scheme, how they would like to do their sachet collection material. So you can imagine this is the situation actual in the ground. This is from Environmental West Bengal. Globally, if we compare with India, globally also plastic is no more considered as a waste problem. It is an issue dealt in the global sphere. 2022, the United Nations General Assembly has agreed to do an international legal treaty on plastic, which will focus on the entire life cycle approach, sustainable production, product design and environmental sound management. And this is my recommendation based on the global aspect, that India should move beyond waste and look at a global context and talk about the comprehensive policy roadmap on plastic as a whole, beyond going to the plastic waste. So I'll end here. Partly empirical, this is my fact study done through the sustainability reports available for these FMCGs. I have highlighted top 10 based on the Forbes last year 2023, their assessment of who all are the top 10 FMCG producers. So then I checked their websites, whatever documents they have put in their public domain as part of their commitment compliance requirement. So I did check their sustainability report, their annual report, and their business responsibility report. Based on that, this is my finding on the policy challenge, policy where they are using the flaws in the policy itself to escape their liability. Thank you, ma'am.
So we can just applause for all.
Redaction doctor
For the presentation. The next, second one. This one, right? So, second main. Second main.
Good afternoon, everyone. So I'll be presenting on climate change and ecofeminism under the broad theme of climate change and feminism. Now, before getting into the ecofeminism part, I would like to present some data telling us about a question that we know the answer to, which is the climate change or global warming. As per Copernicus weather report, January 2024 was the warmest January since 2020. According to NASA, 2023 was the warmest year. Now my question is to you is there a problem? We know the answer to this, but are we doing enough? As Kofi Annan has also stated on climate change, we often don't fully appreciate that it is a problem. We think it is a problem waiting to happen. Now that I have established that there is actually a problem, let me get into a new emerging, if I may state so, area of sustainability, which is ecofeminism. Now, what exactly is ecofeminism as the name suggests? It is when ecology and feminism join hands. The ecofeminism philosophy mostly talks about the connection between women and nature. Now, this has two parts if I have to discuss. The first one is gender vulnerability, which will be my area that I will stress upon today. And the second one is women as catalysts of change. That is the role that women can play. So, getting into the first, why? Okay, according to the COP28 held in Dubai in December 2023, it was observed by scientists worldwide that newer philosophy of collaboration, belongingness have to be involved, and so that is why we have to think of connecting with the problem of climate change rather than confronting it. And for doing that, ecofeminism is the answer. It has also been observed in the COP28 that women and children are going on a downward spiral because of climate change. The effect on them is more than on the overall area. Why is that? Because of the gender vulnerability that they are susceptible to or exposed to. A report released at the Bonn Climate Change Conference in June 2022 explains why the climate change affects women more severely than men. I have highlighted certain areas of vulnerability, the first one being disproportionate vulnerability, traditional gender role that keeps us more susceptible and less prepared for natural calamities and man-made calamities. We do not have more access to information and resources, which keeps us more vulnerable. Same goes for socio-economic disparity, as it is the world suffers from gender inequality. That is enhanced by the problem of climate change. Limited access to resources and information, as I already said. 33% of the global women population is engaged in agriculture. So think of the massive change that can be brought in the area of climate change if women are more included in the journey. Health implications, as we all know, poor air quality, exposure to extreme heat, turbid water, decreased food quality, all this affect the overall health of a woman who are more vulnerable physically. Biological vulnerabilities like, as I've noted here, they dissipate less heat by sweating and a higher metabolic rate, and an extra layer of subcutaneous fat reduces the radiative cooling, which keeps them more vulnerable. And finally, one area that I would like to highlight is the mental health, which is a rising concern mostly in women. And the effect of climate change cannot be denied in this regard. The heat waves have direct connection with the heat wave has direct connection with anxiety, mood disorders, hormonal disorders even. And as I discussed previously, overall health is always affected. So these are the areas of vulnerability. However, we also have a positive side. As I said, women can be included as catalysts of change in reversing climate change through government policies and inclusions in different legislations. The Indian scenario, as I said, agriculture, and we have to remember one thing: women are the unit of foundation. Because why do we call it Mother Earth? Because as Earth is the origin of creation, so are all mothers. So who can understand a mother better than all the mothers, right? So that would be my time. Thank you so much for your patience.
Yes. I just want to ask you one thing. What do you recommend? Being a woman yourself.
Yes. Ma'am, regarding, as I've already, actually I did a little bit of studying this part also, but due to the time constraint, I wasn't being able to. I think women should be more included in the policy making and decision making bodies, which is a huge area, and that has to be done in a grassroots level, ma'am, in the rural areas.
In rural areas?
That is what I'm trying to say. That it should be done in the rural areas. Of course, it has challenges. It will face a, and it will take some time. But ma'am, as you said in your speech also, it is possible in this decade only if we think that it is possible. So that would be my recommendation.
Okay, it was a nice presentation. But if you take this up ecofeminism and the effect of climate on women and children, do you think there is a different kind of effect on men, or there is no effect on men?
No, ma'am, no, absolutely not. Everyone is adversely affected by climate change, and that is an established cause. But the vulnerability is a little more in the women, and I am not saying it is the studies and the scientists worldwide who are saying it. Studies is showing that physically women are more vulnerable to climate change.
They are so close to nature.
Yes. Because of the, because already we are suffering from gender inequality globally, or mostly in India and countries like India. But it is like an added problem, climate change.
Thank you.
Thank you. Where is the computer?
Good afternoon to one of our present here. My name is Devdeep Majumdar. I am a LLM student at Techno India University. And the topic of my presentation today is the global role of artificial intelligence and in environmental protection and its challenges. Now, environmental problems are a global issue, and with rapid technological changes, our entire world has changed, especially with the coming of AI. So at first I want to begin with what do we mean by the term AI. So the first thing when I listen to the term AI, what I think is of robots like Terminators, at least for me. But it is more than that. And AI is a program that is able to sense, reason, act, and adapt. So therefore, AI has a wide context. It can mean robots like Terminator who are out there to take over our world. And it can also mean very down to earth examples like the recommendation system used by apps like YouTube and Netflix. Now, how AI is impacting the environment? The first thing which I have picked up is like how AI can be helpful in rainforests. Now, rainforests play various two major problems. One, deforestation. Two, illegal poaching. AI can be used to for video surveillance in the rainforest regions where it is not possible to enter manually, and accordingly track what are the problems, what is the situation, if there are any illegal poachers residing in the remote corners, and can take action. There is also a system by which we can, an acoustic system by which we can distinguish between natural and unnatural sounds, and therefore we will be able to distinguish between humming of the bees and the buzzing of the chainsaws. Moving on, in case of coral reefs, now if we want some data about coral reef, the researchers have to scuba dive with physical equipments and record the data. Although it's very fun to go for scuba diving, but it is not possible to track the entire mass of coral reefs. Therefore, in University of California in San Diego, they have developed an AI tool called Fish Sense with a lens, so that now the researcher can go inside with that lens and they can simply point to the fish or the whatever corals they are there, and all the data regarding it can be acquired immediately on the surface level. In case of AI and sewer system, the German researchers have created an intelligent sewer system which can think and predict heavy rains and accordingly channelize the water flow in the pipes. AI and climate change is a big issue, but the only thing which I want to point out in here is that NASA has taken the initiative called Earth System Observatory (ESO) from 2024 itself. And it has collaborated with ISRO in an Earth observing mission called NISAR, which is here on my slide. And its goal is to make global measurements of the causes and consequences of land surface changes using advanced AI tools. AI can also be used to predict environmental risks like oil spills, natural disasters, and so on. A statistical report here, which I have stated, is that it is a survey conducted by BCG Climate AI survey done in May 2022. We see that 87% of the public and private leaders say that AI is helpful in to fight against environmental issues. But unfortunately, only 43% have a vision of how exactly to use it. It is also from the same survey where it has highlighted where the AI can actually help. Firstly, it can help in mitigation of the problem, that is either reducing the emissions or at least measuring the emissions. Number two, adaptation, that is forecasting the hazards. 3, fundamentals, which is research, climate finance, and education. So how AI can help in environmental legislations? Firstly, it can help us to track the environmental impact of the companies. And as litigators, if you want to know the information regarding what are the environmental damages caused by a product of a company, we can easily use these AI tools to get accurate measurements. Number 2 is informing policy decisions. That is, by evaluating the impact of proposed policies and laws regarding environment, AI can be used to create different scenarios, predicting the outcomes, which can help. Can I request the panelists to give me some more time because the topic is a bit vast.
I don't need 4 minutes. You try to make it come to the gist. I think this we can understand. You come in your observation as well as findings.
So yeah, certain challenges will be that it can lead to increased litigations because we will be having more data for it. Second is that there will be bias because we don't, an international system will measure it differently, our Indian system will manage it differently. There can be a bias. Lack of uniformity again because AI tool developed in Germany may not be applicable to the Indian context, so that might lead to lack of uniformity in results. Errors and bugs can also happen because viruses are everywhere, hackers are there, so we don't know exactly how to go over the errors. Then the issue of accountability, that where will these data be stored, how is this going to be used, etc. Also, there can be a negative impact of AI because the data servers which are used to store all this information, they also consume a lot of electricity, they also need a lot of water to cool down, so there can be a reverse impact on AI. Solutions is, number one is that we do not need unnecessary AI tools. For example, if there's a chat GPT which we are using to complete our projects, every 20 inquiries that we use, a chat GPT server requires 500 milliliters of water to cool down. So we only should use AI in contexts where we want or where it is really required. Number two is that importance of ethics, that is with whom the data will be there, how it will be shared, etc. That needs to be taken care of. And we also need the help of domain experts to actually interpret the information received by AI in a scientific manner. And of course, we also need some legislations which are exclusively related to AI. In conclusion, I would like to say that regarding the legislation of AI, there's only one which has been passed on 8th December 2023 in the European Union. It has not been accepted as a law in all the European countries, but there are efforts which has been taken, so there is a good side to it. And but we all have heard from Uncle Ben of Spider-Man that with great power comes great responsibility. Thus, the most urgent need in this context is not to have more powerful AI, but to become smarter, to know where and how we use the AI. Thank you so much.
It was a lovely presentation. But Dave, I just want to know, all the solutions that were given is actually applicable for generally AI or in the terms of AI application in general, not only purposefully in environment. Like ChatGPT, if you talk about, we mean that it's only for we use for research or writing something. So its direct relation to the environment that has to be established. So how do you justify that?
Thank you, ma'am, for the question. Ma'am, if we have a proper ethical AI legislation, then we will also be able to apply that for our environmental concerns. For example, if we limit the use of AI, then the number of data servers required will also be very limited and restricted. There will be a number of restrictions which a company has to abide by. And if the number of data servers are reduced, then the environmental impact of those data servers, that is in their creation, the transportation, the cooling down, that will also be reduced. So it may not be directly visible, but the implications will affect the environment.
I just want to know, basically remote sensing is doing all the work you suggested while you are doing with AI. So why do you think AI will be better than remote sensing?
Ma'am, because AI can process larger data more efficiently, as well as it can also help to reach places more effectively than a remote sensing. So in that case, and if there are more innovations in the AI field, which I will not be aware of because I'm from the law field, but if there are more innovations, then the accuracy of those data can also be better.
But do you think AI will cause unemployment?
Ma'am, just like when internet came into being, we were afraid that there would be many jobs which would be lost. And it's sure that maybe the bank clerk job has gone, but a new job has come of YouTubers and Instagrammers and influencers. So maybe it can also lead to new jobs. Thank you so much.
Later, Srijori Ghosh is come forward to the presentation.
Very good afternoon to everyone and panelists. Today my topic is greenwashing in a CSR paradigm.
CSR, according to section 135(1) of Company Law Act 2013, CSR have been mandated, and according to 2% of net profits of a particular company, they need to contribute to the environment. It's important because companies basically look forward to profit motives, and that is why they need to give back, such as philanthropy, environmental sustainability, ethical labor practice, and community development. So this is CSR. We require CSR to build trust. As I said, that the companies also need to give back to the society, and thereafter we can even have a sustainable environment, because when we are talking about civilization, hence it is seen that we tend to cut trees, build factories, emit smoke, again endangering our environment. Thereafter, the company, as a CSR initiative, they have taken greenwashing. Now, greenwashing basically is a deceptive way of the generating PR and initiative spin in the competitive market. So basically, it involves exaggerating the eco-friendly or free from some kind of like not harming the environment, but though building a factory or emission of smoke, creating some kind of elements or any kind of things which we are using, that is required. Use of misleading labels such as eco-friendly, natural, and without substantiated evidence. Because although we see that there are some kind of saying that we should not make paper, but we require paper to print materials. Token environmentalism, like the company does not address, like they plan certain initiatives, or even when they are taking a particular land and they are saying that they are not polluting, or they are not, even if it's a factory, they say that they are planting trees elsewhere, but this particular negotiation is not done seeing the carbon emission. And the cherry pick data is highlighting the positive environment efforts, concealing the harmful practices like even poaching or cutting down of trees. Basically, greenwashing techniques, it's a vague language without proper relevance, and it's also shifting the focus of where the environment is degrading, which also impacts our society, because the society lacks, or they do not know that what is being missing out, or where are the environmental issues needs to be or should get addressed. So hence it is shifting our focus. So for that, we do not have any kind of legislations as such, which talks about transparency or accountability of the company. Even very many people are not even aware about this particular topic about greenwashing, because it came from whitewashing, which we thought that we can continue our civilization, but it's not possible, and hence even the tactics are not well developed. So, greenwashing undermines the principles of corporate social responsibility by deceiving its stakeholders. Because we, the consumers, do not know that though the companies are using the green labels or eco-friendly tourism or something like that, but still they are not addressing the actual issues. And the companies are also benefiting. Maybe there are few companies who are giving back to the society, but they in general are not actually addressing, or where even if they are saying that they are going for any kind of campaigns, they are not properly addressing that what are the current issues which need to be addressed. So this is all for my presentation. So what do you suggest to be done? Ma'am, there should be proper legislations
and there should be proper accountability that what is greenwashing and what the companies are actually thinking about, like even if they are planning any kind of CSR activity in regard to that. So they should have proper accountability or transparency so that they are not misleaded, especially the stakeholders.
So are you a LLM student?
No, ma'am. I'm a research scholar.
Research scholar what?
PhD.
Law? No, law. That can't be law. Of course, research scholar of law. Okay, Srini, firstly, I did not understand the concept of greenwashing and its link with CSR. Because if I would have understood what CSR means, it's something, a corporate social responsibility which the corporates does towards actually getting back or bringing back the destruction of the environment that they have conducted. So do you want to mean that this greenwashing is something which they actually try to deceive the people by showing that this is
Yes,
a CSR,
yes,
but
exactly. They are not doing it.
but how labeling is a part of it, I could not get.
Ma'am, they are labeling as a term that they are doing a CSR activity. Now, supposedly, I'm not naming a company. It was my ground research. Like they were asking not to use papers. So, but ma'am, for printing any
Newspapers, is this a CSR?
they were saying that as a part of CSR
I
activity.
think in the presentation, what is lacking is a link between both the terms. Maybe, but I think the examples might be something else or could be taken something different. But I think you could have developed, you can try this, develop it in a better manner. So you can find the link with the examples. Okay.
Greetings to all my associates and students, judges and applicants. Due to a very tight crunch, I couldn't go through a very good presentation, but I tried for you. Some incidents that happened in my neighborhood, and from that this idea came to me. Because I've written this article on women's vulnerability to environmental challenges and climate change, with a special emphasis on ecofeminism. Now, as we all know, ecofeminism is like oppression of women, like we also exploit the natural resources around. Now, women, the total community of women, lots of women. We consider of lots of women in the community, but I have focused on the pregnant women who are actually carrying the next generation to them. Now, from the very childhood, we have came across a sentence like nation's wealth is everything. So, when it's a nation's wealth, the person who is carrying the next generation should be taken care of more seriously. So, when there is an extreme heat, if we consider climate change, then it will be an extreme heat. If disposal of waste, then a distinguished type of methane gas come out from it. That gas is also very harmful when a pregnant woman is inhaling it. So, my focus So, ecofeminism actually highlights the interconnectedness between the environmental degradation and the operation of women. So, if I say in this way, that in the context of pregnant women, that environmental degradation can exhibit that healthy risk. Now, there is a problem when we are practicing legally. We only focus overall environmental protection. But specifically, there is no legislation environment as specifically to a pregnant woman. So there is a gap in legislation because whenever a person is facing inhaling a bad gas or extreme heat, there is no such legislation for combating it because women are actually the bearer of future generations. We also have came through the chronological degradation
degradation in the environment since 1970s till today, like climate change, biodiversity loss, whatever it is. But ultimately, we didn't also think of this that when a person, woman who is carrying is actually gaining risk of preterm birth or low birth weight. Sometimes we face, the doctor says that a baby is a low birth weight. We never thought that environment can be the cause for this reason also, because sometimes there is some babies takes birth with respiratory diseases also, that like asthma or any other infection that also comes from the contamination of air. We never want, legislation has taken the environment as a whole but not specified as for the pregnant woman. And when a person is exposed have an exposure to polluted water also, sometimes there was a research done in University of California. They are saying mostly Indian women suffer from miscarriages. That miscarriages is actually happens from the polluted water, either exposure to contamination of water, polluted or extreme heat. Miscarriages sometimes actually happens due to high blood pressure. When suddenly the blood pressure goes up, the miscarriages happen. So there was very recently a study has been done by the University of California that miscarriages mostly happen due to those reasons, and those reasons generally happen in India because we actually live in a very hot climate. We only enjoy the winter season for near about 3 to 4 months, but most of the time it's heat here. So automatically the extreme heat is actually affecting the pregnant woman. Yeah. And if I align with the environmental legislation like bridging national and international framework, there are lots of given, like UNFCCC has given, Kyoto Protocol is there, but the most pathetically, there is an idea came up recently like net zero conception. Net zero conception has actually came for limiting allowing the countries to emit net zero level of emission by 2050. But this is not legally binding actually from none of the countries, not on USA itself, not on India. It has been taken an oath that we will make it a net zero emission till 2050. For India it's 2070, for USA it's 2050. So we are standing in 21st century. It's far long to reach 2070. So therefore it should be legally binding. Whatever.
Ma'am, can you come to the conclusion of the sentence?
Now, for the way forward, I have thought if there should be a collaboration between health sector and the environmental agencies together for doing a research, for doing a monitorization. What is the problem? Lies the root cause. There should be a collaboration between health sector and environmental agencies, and if we compare with the International Environmental Convention, that should be legally binding properly, and that also should be monitored that it is being followed properly. And there obviously a gap between government mechanism because researchers are not doing in a regular basis. And another thing like public participation, especially women who are actually suffering this, both in the rural area and the urban area, when there will be some transparency. Now, what is this transparency? When we give them a proper environmental education, they will understand that what is what. Then only they can participate in the policies given. So therefore, there should be a proper transparency and public participation. Thank you for.
The last slide that you have shown, suggestions. What could be the better suggestion? Is it the health sector with the environmental, environmental
agencies and health
sector? I think the suggestions would have been better if you put women activists or health sectors only, because when you talk health sector, it is actually a vast sector. It is
So only the women sections who are working actually women.
Ma'am, I don't think this could anytime happen, because legislation for a pregnant woman, it cannot happen. And any legislation is always for all. So this practically, I don't think this can be possible.
There is always a
Did you get through any of the this pregnant women legislation in any of the countries?
No, we don't get any specifically don't get any legislation, but if we start thinking, it may come up because this is a very root cause problem that women generally face. So it should come up. So at least if we try or if we start thinking in this way, it may come up somewhere.
Thank you. Please come forward.
I have taken up the theme 1, environmental pollution and climate change, and under that the subtheme the dire effect of water pollution on aquatic life. First of all, I would like to say that the Sustainable Development Goal that has been already been initiated by United Nations Organization, that is goal number 14 of United Nations Organization, that has been done in a conference. Only 3 of the delegates from different states and different countries are presented in 1972. And after that, goal number 14 says us that it is our duty to protect wildlife, and under that wildlife also comes aquatic life. Not only wildlife like animals, aquatic life as well, like fishes and the other aquatic animals. United Nations Development Program says that the signatories of United Nations Development Programs, they all are under the umbrella that they should protect the wildlife, they should protect the aquatic life who are living. The causes of environmental pollution, that is the aquatic pollution, is actually the industrial discharges. As we are in a state of developing country, the environmental discharges that pollutes the water bodies of the country, the agricultural runoff, that is the chemicals, pesticides and insecticides that have been used in the crops, that runoff comes to the nearby water bodies. Oil spills like Mumbai High, onshore oil field. Their oil spills in 1992, oil spills had happened, and also from the ships that travels. Sometimes the machines get down and oil spills happens on the oceans and water bodies. After that, plastic pollutions. We being human beings, we are actually the polluters. We always dispose of plastics in water bodies. That is the problem we are having for marine life. The constitutional provisions, we have Article 48A that comes under Directive Principle of State Policies, but the drawback of it is that it is Directive Principle of State Policies. It is not judicial in nature. It states that the state always should have the responsibility to protect the water bodies which is present in the state, but again it is not judicial in nature. That means it is not actually, it is not binding upon the state, and fundamental duties we have, that is on Article 51A G, Part 4 of the Indian Constitution. It states that
being the human beings, we being individuals of a specific state, we being individuals of India, we have the fundamental duty to protect our environment and also the aquatic lives. Water Prevention and Control of Pollution Act 1974 that legislates that we should protect the aquatic life and the water bodies that is present in the country. Under that, we have 1977 Water Prevention and Control of Pollution Cess Act that says that when a person or a group of person is engaged in an industrial coming in an industry, the industry is polluting the water bodies nearby, so they need to compensate for it. They need to compensate for it. When they are doing it, then 70% of rebate is coming. If they are actually compensating, then they will be getting 70% of rebate in it. Remediation is stricter regulation. We have legislation, but again, it is not enforceable in nature. We are not listening to it. And public awareness campaign is also required from the grassroots level, because in poverty-ridden areas there are not that public are very much aware of it. They are using plastics and they are disposing of plastics here and there that affects the water bodies. And sustainable water management. We all know the meaning of sustainability. Sustainable means we are using our natural resources. Again, we need to use it wisely so that our future generation may also use it. So we need to have sustainable water management system. By saying it, I'm concluding my
Use proper forms. It is very hard to understand what is written on the slides. And the second thing, what is your recommendation? What to be done? This case law, then this act, these all are already there. What changes or
yes, I think that we should have a fine system. If we pollute the water, or it is totally my opinion, ma'am, that if we pollute the water, we should have a fine system first, and secondly, there should be public awareness from the grassroots level. In the rural areas, we should have campaigns regarding it, so that it becomes easier for the people of the rural areas, especially the women who are in the houses, to understand that how to dispose the waste, how to dispose the non-biodegradable waste in the nearby locality.
Fine, I think is already existing.
Sorry, ma'am?
Fine is already existing.
Yes, ma'am. Actually, the implementation of the enforcement is not there what it is expected to be.
Greetings to one and all present. Today, we are going to discuss on the topic of animal cruelty, which comes under the broad topic of biodiversity, wildlife, and natural resources. Animal cruelty, as we all know, is a pervasive issue in India, which encompasses neglect and violence, from illegal wildlife trade to disregarding stray animals. Despite of the existing legislation, the enforcement of those legislation is questionable, and the challenges still persist, highlighting the need for better and reconstruction of strict regulations. And thus, there are some present statutes, such as section number 428 and 429 of the Indian Penal Code, and the Wildlife Protection Act of 1972, and Prevention of Cruelty to Animals Act of 1960, which aims to protect the animals from the detriment by including penalties of imprisonment and fine. The Supreme Court affirmed the importance of Article 51 AG of the Indian Constitution in safeguarding the rights of the animals. The preventive measures, as discussed, are that India has taken crucial steps by banning captive dolphin shows and animal-tested cosmetic imports, which includes the initiatives like Jet Airways' commitment to marine conservation and conservation efforts, including schemes like Project Tiger and Indian Rhino Vision. Um, and India is a signatory to the United Nations Convention of the Conservation of Migratory Species of Wildlife Animals, and which is an environmental agreement aimed at conserving migratory species and their habitats and the wildlife conservation. The CMS COP13 was being hosted by India, highlighting the country's commitment to preserve this vital ecosystem.
Greetings to all. My name is Shumata Saringi, and I'll be saying the facts. So, it's not that we are not familiar with this topic. Animal cruelty is actually being faced not in India but all over the world. So, now the question over here arises that what is the motive behind this? Because India is a very huge country and it has diversity, means diverse factors which influence it. Is it because of the customs that we are really accustomed to, like we have been practicing this through ages? For example, animal sacrifices, we are very familiar to it. We also raise objections, we also have laws regarding it. But we don't see any implementations, like we don't see it in reality. Now, it's we also like in moral grounds, if we say on daily basis we see that dogs are hit by cars and vehicles on roads, but we don't take any actions. They just lie dead over there as if they don't exist. And it's on the next, and it's not that India doesn't have legislation over this. India does have a lots of acts regarding animal protection laws. We also have constitutional provisions for enriching their rights. But constitutional provisions are just a set of principles because they don't lack the amount of enforceability that we as humans have fundamental rights and we can go to court and enforce it. But animals always lack that enforceability over their rights. So in the previous years, mainly between 2010 to 2020, over 500,000 of cases wherein animals faced abuse. At least.
You just come to the conclusion. What do you want to suggest?
My opinion over here is that I, as an individual, cannot contribute to this cause. Okay, this is not a desire that only I can bring, and this won't change. It's a collective responsibility, and it's a vision that everyone needs to think of.
Good evening, everyone present here. I'm Akansha Mukhopadhyay from the LLB department. And today I'm going to talk about the topic of environment and feminism. So, our environment plays a very crucial role in shaping every life on this planet Earth. Like, it serves as a stage and also a script for this planet's evolution. But because of humankind's selfishness, this ecosystem is currently dwindling. Today we witness the environment's deterioration as seen in the glaciers melting and Antarctic sea level rising, and the ecosystem is currently like in a very bad position right now. Like and the animals are extinct, going extinct the past decade, like the barber lions and the passenger pigeons. And IPCC says that get an urgent global action, as emphasized, would lead to irreversible consequences on our environment. Basically, scientists mainly say that the main reason for our environment's current situation is us humans. And because of this doom and gloom in this entire situation, we would like to also look into ourselves and our relationship with ourselves, with our fellow humans and the nature. And kindly, and also might as well find a link to how to make our relationship with the nature and the people with ourselves a bit better. And this makes space for the term ecofeminism, which is divided into two parts, that is ecology and feminism. I have already given a brief about the environment, about ecology part. Now let's talk about what is feminism. The word feminism is a socio-political movement that this term was first coined by Mary Wollstonecraft in her book, The Vindication of the Rights of Women. And there is 4 phases of the feminism movement, where the first phase was began by the middle-class white women who mainly wanted their political rights and also questioned the social norms that were imposed upon them during that time. As of now, the feminism, that is the 4th phase, that is currently continuing in today, we mainly focus on the public discourse, emphasizing on intersectionality, inclusivity, and adapting to contemporary issues. Now, what is ecofeminism? The word ecofeminism was first termed by Francoise G. Yvonne in her book, Les Féminins au Monde, which means in English is translated to feminism born dead. Basically, it deals with the idea of the interconnectivity about environment and feminism, about how the traditional gender roles of women is intertwined with the nature. Basically, its primary focus of ecofeminism is that women's liberation is ultimately intertwined with the environment, with the liberation of the nature and human destruction, and protecting it from human destruction. Basically, that's the idea of ecofeminism. Now, about the correlation between the nature and women. Basically, ecofeminists in scholarship basically use 2 methods, that is the value hierarchical thinking and oppositional dualism. Now, what is value hierarchical thinking? It is the perpetual belief that one culture is better than the other cultures. And about oppositional dualism, it is the social and cultural binaries, that is like human, between the gender binaries and also the human and nature. Suppose, I take the example of human and nature. Which comes first? First, at one glance we think that, okay, humans come first and then nature. That is oppositional dualism. We always prefer humans, later nature. Now also, oppositional dualism can also be considered like this, that feminine terms such as fertile soil is always referred for mother nature and not masculine terms. This just shows that just like women, even nature has no voice. They are all subjugated and exploited, just like we are doing right now, both women and nature. And this idea of exploitation of woman and nature is clearly and very nicely framed in the book Rape of the White. And now we come to the topic of how climate change affects women. Basically, women, even though they comprise of 51% of the global population, in the agriculture sector, they only comprise, the worldwide scale, they only comprise of 12.8%. Which means that because of this low population, women can't even get proper access to credit or cash when they need to buy fertilizer or seeds for their agriculture. Let me take this example for now. Suppose there is a drought and the women lose all their crops to the drought. And now they face the problem of getting cash to recover from that debt that they have faced, the loss that they have faced. This is the problem. Whereas the male counterpart can easily access to the cash or credit easily. That is the problem.
You just come to the conclusion what you want to say.
Basically, I would like to say that this part, that the problem about how to solve this thing, that is the agricultural gender gap. If we can actually fulfill that gap, the productivity of the agricultural sector at least will increase 20 to 30%, and we can feed almost 150 million people who are hungry right now, and we know how the situation is right now. And this is one of the things that we can solve if we can provide women power and education. Now, at the same time, the connection with women and the nature can be seen in the Chipko movement, one of the most prominent eco-feminist movement in India. The Chipko movement, which was led by Gaura Devi in 1947 in Uttarakhand. This just shows the inherent connection that women have with the nature, that the desire for maintaining their houses, that maintaining the traditional gender roles of their houses, protecting the nature is how it is connected to the forest, and how women can actually help in making and preserving the forest.
I hope this is means your finding. You already from the conclusion you came back again.
Yeah, exactly. Because there are various nooks and crannies of this
Recommendation. Yeah, give your recommendations.
Ma'am, what about recommendation, like what I suggest about
Yes,
what can be
yes.
done?
How you-
Ma'am, I would suggest that we can educate women and help them in accessing, like just like I said, like cash and credit problems. They can, if we can solve that and get easier cash accessibility to women as well as men. At the same time, we can also see that women are meant to sit at homes. That also face migration problems, and they can't access to jobs that easily as men can. That they sit at homes. And also when there is climate problems, like in Bangladesh cyclone 1991, the women, they were most of the 90% of the fatalities were of women. Because they can't migrate, because they have to look after the children. Where would they migrate? If we can provide education to women and we can make them independent enough, they can actually move to other areas and actually take the jobs. And might as well, like, that would also like increase the status of women. At the same time, they will also increase like productivity of environment and proper utilization of goods and resources. Thank you.
Finding on the data that has been provided by the CAG Control Director General of India, 2021 report. The report basically tells about the groundwater that has been extracted in India that has gone up significantly. It has been 58% to 63% in 2004 and 2017, exceeding the groundwater recharge rate. So India is using the groundwater that has gone up significantly, and the groundwater level is also going down as a result of it. So what are the issues there? The issues there are the groundwater ownership and the rights. So the landowner in our country have the right to the resources that is under beneath the land. So this is actually governed by the Indian Easement Act of 1882. So that has been there. So it's an archaic act and which needs to be modified over the time. So violation of fundamental rights, right to water, and that is also the violation of the fundamental right to life under Article 21. So the failure to protect the groundwater as a common pool of resource. We need to protect the groundwater so that everyone can use it as much as he or she requests that groundwater. Then there is some of the development that has happened over the years. The formation of the Central Groundwater Authority of India, and 2004 Supreme Court judgment that came, and that highlighted the public trust doctrine. Water as a resource for a public trust to be created, and everybody can share that resource for their usage. Then there is a model groundwater bill passed in 1970 and was revised in 2021, 2016, 2011, 2016, and then 2017. Also, the bill has been revised regularly. These are the failures of the bill that has been groundwater. The bill that we're talking about. It is not. It does not secure the linkage between the right to land and the right to extract groundwater. So there needs to be a cutoff between the right that has been the owner of the land and the water that is beneath the land. So that because the water is a resource that needs to be used by all of us. Everyone has an equal right on that water. So it indicates the landowner right to. It indicates that the rights of the extraction of groundwater are limited, but it does not make this limit explicit.
So they define the rights, but it does not explicitly say what is exactly the right the landowner has on that groundwater. It does not make it clear, very clear. It does force the lawmakers to apply public trust. It does not force the lawmakers to apply the public trust doctrine, which I was talking about earlier. Also, public trust doctrine is something which is very important in this context. So the failure, so then that the model bill also fails to fully protect the fundamental rights to water. That is a very important right. Everyone has the right to use the water that is beneath the surface. So the polluter place, this is very important. So one is the shortage of the groundwater and there is a contamination of the groundwater. So we have seen in Bengal the acid contamination that has happened over the years and how difficult the situation has become. So the polluter must pay. So that is very important. And there is a precautionary principles are not incorporated. So who is polluting the groundwater? We must have some checks and balances in the systems itself. So that should not happen. No clear mechanism for checking groundwater contamination over exploitation. So there needs to have mechanisms not only to checks and balances in the system that over exploitations, deep irrigations, etc. Pumps that have been put in the ground to dig out the water from the ground, that is needs to be checked and controlled. So regulation of the groundwater for irrigation. So irrigation is something which is a very politically sensitive matter. Our farmers their rights. Whenever you try to put a legislation to check the farmers' rights, there will be some political backlash. So it's a politically sensitive issue. So government has been reluctant to approach that issue. So government has not touched that issue and not gone deep into that. So there needs to be some movement in that area. So there have been some subsidies have been given to the farmers to use dark well irrigation system and sprinkler system, but it has not reduced the exploitative extraction of groundwater. So these incentives or subsidies that have been given to the farmers, so that has not significantly reduced the usage of that groundwater. Right, combination of both. Then my recommendations on what are the recommendations? A clear priority for the drinking water. So we have to give a clear priority for the drinking water, and irrigation of industrial and commercial usage will become better because the drinking water needs to be prioritized on the first come first served basis. Government must also clearly adopt public trust doctrine in veterans. So this public trust doctrine that we are talking about Article 21 that has to be put into place in a clear and very strict form. So there is a delinking of the land rights and the delinking of land rights and the groundwater rights. So landowners should not have the right of the usage of the groundwater as much as it wants to be, and there needs to be significant penalties for non-compliance. This compliance has to be there because unless we put some very stringent rules for non-compliance of this, we will be able to control this menace. And the last point that I would like to highlight is the deep involvement of the local bodies. We have seen the Panchayat Raj systems and we have the second and the fourth amendment that has come.
Time is up, please come.
The third amendment, so that local body involvement of the local bodies, more involvement of local bodies to control this governmental exploitation. Thank you. So the basic thing is that groundwater that is there needs to be shared by all of us. The resource needs to be shared by everybody, and there needs to be put some checks and balances in the system. And from the legal point of view, the laws must be there so that there is no exploitative use of groundwater.
The groundwater of the aquifer is not a constant ecosystem. So it is not that it is just beneath my house, so I am extracting. That doesn't mean that the neighbor can extract from here. It is a very vast ecosystem beneath the earth. It is not that it's beneath my house and I am extracting only. You just can't.
So when there is an uniformity in law, so anybody has a limit to use the groundwater. So you have to create the NOC. First you have to create the NOC. Yeah, that's what the Article 21 talks about. That's what Article 21 talks about. Right to life. Groundwater is my right to life. That is what. So that laws has to be implemented in general spirit. You can't have the law in your books and you don't implement it in the ground. Until and unless you implement it, what is the use